There are 18 different guns in Valorant. Today I'm gonna give you one tip for each so you can improve with them. The first gun is the classic, one of the most commonly used weapons in the game, so it's important to get good at it. In situations where you are fighting against someone and you have low HP, going for a single shot while strafing isn't always the best strategy. Instead, try using the right click and pray to the RNG gods for good luck. To improve your chances even more, first shoot a single bullet and then follow it up immediately with a burst shot. This is the fastest way to maximize your bullet output with the pistol if you have only one opportunity to secure the elimination. If you try to right click right away, delay between burst shots could give your opponent a chance to land a shot and win the fight. The Shorty is a very underrated gun in Valorant. After Riot doubled its price, it became less popular, but it's still a very reliable source of damage, especially during the eco rounds. It can inflict some effective chip damage. Since the Shorty is only great at very close range, how surprising is that, right? My tip focuses on this aspect of the gun. To get the most out of it, you need to play close to the choke points. Even if you are not playing as a controller agent, can't smoke for yourself, you can still anticipate where your teammates are likely to smoke. On Heaven's Seaside, playing close to the entrance can create chaos. You call out that the enemy is pushing, the smoke lands, and your chances of turning the round into a decent one are already significantly higher. You will see the enemies entering first as you sit in the smoke, giving you a split-second advantage to shoot first. The Frenzy is a very interesting sidearm and quite unique. It's the only pistol in the game that is fully automatic, which is the main reason you might consider buying it. It has 13 rounds, and since it fires rapidly, you often find yourself running out of bullets. My tip is to press the reload button whenever you have a chance. I wanna point out that the next clip is from Dr. Freeze, who actually reached Immortal playing Frenzy only. Even mid-fight, if you have a brief moment, you can reload to ensure you have enough bullets for the next engagement. If you watch skilled players, they do the same thing, reloading after just 4 bullets, as if it's Call of Duty. So in your next fight, don't forget to keep reloading, even if it seems like 6 bullets might be enough. The next pistol on the list is the Ghost. The Ghost is the most versatile of all the pistols. It's great for aggressive play, while also being perfect for defensive tactics. Until your aim isn't top-notch, I recommend using the Ghost. In the early rounds, it can one-tap players without shields, just like the Sheriff, but it has faster fire rate and more bullets. Additionally, it costs less, allowing you to buy some utility as well. Another benefit of the Ghost is its reliability in close, mid and long-range fights. While it may not be very accurate at long range, it compensates with the number of bullets in the magazine. Consider using the Ghost over the Sheriff because it's less punishing if you make mistakes. The main ingredient for crazy clips is the Sheriff, no question about that. With this sidearm, you need to understand the damage it can deal to maximize its potential. Knowing where to aim depending on the distance is crucial. Yes, we know it can one-tap within 30 meters. At short and medium ranges, you should always aim for the head. But at long range, anything beyond 30 meters, you can't one-tap with the Sheriff. If you hit a headshot at long range, it deals the most damage you can inflict. It will leave your opponent with 5 HP. For the next shot, you don't need to bother aiming for the head, just go for the body or even leg shots to secure the frag. The Stinger is the next gun on our list. Many of you might not know, but this gun is actually quite special. It's the only gun in the game with a somewhat consistent spray pattern. While the spread is still random, like with other guns, it doesn't stray too far to the right or left during a spray. Instead, it mostly moves upward with a slight spread. You can control most of it simply by pulling down. This makes it possible to achieve multi-kills or even spray transfers using only one magazine. Next, let's talk about the Spectre. This gun is the exact opposite of what Riot Games said about gunfights in this game when it was released. Precise gunplay is supposed to be how fights are taken. Well, my tip for the Spectre is to run and gun as much as you can at close range. It makes you a harder target to hit, while the game doesn't punish you much for moving and shooting. You can easily win bonus rounds with the Spectre against Vandals if you can close the distance between you and your opponents. The second shotgun we will examine is the Bucky. When you play this gun, you are usually in a half-buy situation. If you had enough money, you would just buy a better gun. The Bucky has one powerful chance to get a frag, then you are likely to get traded. If you are playing with the Bucky, use it as a bait. You can create chaos in a smoke or a sneaky corner while your team plays off your distraction. The value you provide to your team is significant, even if you only deal chip damage and don't get many kills with it. They can trade you and hurt the opponent's economy while spending only 950 credits on the Bucky. The Judge is also a shotgun, but a superior one. As a Brim main, I play a lot around smokes where shotguns can shine the most. I used to wait for the enemies to enter the smoke before shooting at them. Lately I have found more success by pre-firing from within the smoke. Since the smoke is in the choke point, you can hear them walking right on the other side of your smoke. Even if you don't get a kill, the chip damage you can deal can be very impactful. In the case of a solo droning or a sky dogging, this little trick can often secure kills. The next gun is the Ares, and I have a lovely tip for you. Even if you don't have the money for the higher tier guns, the Ares can be a perfectly reliable substitute. It can wallbang just like the Odin and is great for slowing down enemy pushes. Of course, the gun requires a very static style of play to be effective. One clever strategy is to counter an enemy Soba player who likes to exploit high penetration guns. On S and B side, many Soba mains shoot a dart into B main and then spray with the Odin. Even if they don't get kills with the spray, the chip damage is useful and it also slows down the enemy's advance. You counter this by an Ares and wait at the start of the round. As soon as the barrier drops, you can fire back and surprise the opponent, who, as we mentioned, is likely to stay in one spot. Just follow the bullet tracers and you will find the location of the defender. If you opt for the big brother of the Ares, I have a very useful tip for you. When playing with the Odin, you are likely to be spamming with it. But did you know that aiming down sights is actually better than hip firing? It increases the fire rate by 30% and the bullet spread is easier to control. So using the Odin without aiming down sights is a poor decision, considering how the gun functions. Whenever you want to play with the Odin, make sure you scope in to maximize the gun's advantages. The Bulldog is the next gun I am going to discuss. The gun itself has relatively low base damage. It does only 115 damage with a headshot, which doesn't make it highly desirable. However, what makes it incredibly strong is actually aiming down sights. Aiming down sights changes the gun from automatic to burst mode. Each time you fire, it shoots 3 bullets in quick succession. So while the Bulldog might only deal 115 damage to the head, with the burst fire, it's very easy to double ding someone since the recoil is almost non-existent on the first 2 bullets. If you choose to use this gun, make sure to always engage while aiming down sights if you are at medium or long range. The Guardian has the best accuracy in the game. It also has no damage drop-off at longer ranges, making it a very good option. Knowing that it can one-tap anyone from any distance, I think the tip I'm about to give is quite logical. With this gun, make sure to take your time aiming before you shoot. Landing a headshot is highly rewarding, so don't rush your shots, be precise and calm. Learning to use this gun will benefit you in the long run, as it will encourage you to always aim for the head. Now let's talk about arguably the best gun in the game. The Phantom is once again a gun that can be used in almost any situation. It's highly versatile, so it can fit any scenario you encounter. When you are unsure what kind of engagements you will be in, using the Phantom gives you a better chance to come out on top. Since it has a higher fire rate than the Vandal, it's easier to spray at close range. It has also more bullets than the Vandal, and the spray control is easier. There aren't really any downsides to it. If you are unsure whether most of your engagements will be at a long range, Phantom is the way to go. I have already mentioned the Vandal, so let's go over a tip on how to get better with it. With the Vandal, we need to consider different distances once again. Since the Vandal is designed for tap firing, spraying often results in you returning to the lobby rather than climbing the ranks. So let's learn how to shoot properly with the Vandal. At close range, the game doesn't punish you as much, so spraying 5-6 bullets isn't a terrible choice. At mid-range, you will have to rely on 2-3 bullet bursts to avoid losing your fights due to recoil. And at long range, the only way to use the Vandal effectively is by tap firing. Again, the gun has a recoil pattern that is difficult to control and it's not very consistent. Now you have a better understanding of how to use the Vandal, so let's talk about the first sniper rifle. The Marshal is great for eco rounds to get a pick or force the enemy to rebuy their shields for the next round. It's an excellent tool for inflicting significant chip damage and it has the potential to turn rounds around. The cool thing about the Marshal is that it's quite effective at close range as well. The no-scope has decent accuracy, so if someone gets close to you, you can trust the gun to tag the opponent. Reloading between each shot doesn't slow down the fire rate when shooting without scoping in. This is good to remember when engaging in close range fights. Valorant's latest addition in terms of guns is the Outlaw. It's the perfect gun to buy when you see the enemy lacks the funds for full armor and the Vandal. It will either get you some very easy frags, or it will force the enemy to compromise during the round. If they buy heavy shields, they won't have money for utilities, or they might have to skip abilities to afford the Vandal. It's a disadvantage for them either way. So always check the opponent's economy to see if you can exploit it with the Outlaw. The last gun is the Operator. We all know how strong this gun is. The only thing I want to discuss is positioning. With the Operator, it's extremely important to understand how the game flows. You can create advantageous rounds even without getting a kill just by positioning yourself correctly. For example, if you are defending, Cypher can lock down B side with his utility and you make the smart decision to play on A main. As soon as you make the first contact, they might call for the rotate since they don't want to risk getting one-tapped by the operator. So they push into Cypher's setup where he is likely to get a few kills. All because of your positioning where you locked down the A side entry with your operator, funneling the enemy into B side. If you had stayed on B with Cypher, enemy could have rotated again and hit A, where there wouldn't be any Sentinel utility to stop them, making their entry easier. If you like playing with the operator, you probably enjoy playing duelists also, and I want you to improve with them. You should click right here.